Good to be with you. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now. Hegseth under oath, the defense secretary grilled by members of Congress about the newly revealed $25 billion cost of the war with Iran. And is the U.S. winning? What he said.
You should know better. Shame on you. Calling this a quagmire 2 months in.
Also developing tonight, what the accused would-be assassin was doing moments before chaos erupted in that D.C. ballroom. Chief correspondent Matt Gutman standing by with new reporting. State of disaster. Tornadoes tear through Texas on the 6th straight day of severe storms. Widespread damage and multiple injuries reported.
Get me to the gate. I want off.
An outraged passenger opens the cabin door on a Delta flight.
We have a situation with a passenger. It's not going to be pretty.
And the high-rise rescue, how LB the Terrier got way up here and what happened next.
Last section going in.
And the good stuff, how the world's largest jigsaw puzzle is a lot like life.
From CBS News headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel.
Good evening. Day 61 of the war with Iran, and for the first time, we are hearing about the official cost of the fighting. $25 billion and counting, the Pentagon says, and the major questions tonight from members of both parties. What has all that money gotten us, and are we winning? Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth answering under oath today, his first testimony since the war began. And he said America's biggest adversaries are not overseas, but right there in front of him on Capitol Hill. Congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns was there and joins us now. Caitlin, big day. Good evening.
Good evening to you, Tony. Well, under 6 hours of questioning, Pentagon officials revealed the price tag for the war, but no timeline to end it, as Secretary Hegseth was grilled on the costs, the munition shortage, and the shifting justifications for the conflict.
Greeted by protesters on Capitol Hill, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth set the tone for today's fiery hearing in the opening minutes, calling war critics the enemy.
The biggest challenge, the biggest adversary we face at this point are the reckless, feckless, and defeatist words of congressional Democrats and some Republicans.
Pentagon officials revealed that the war, now in its 9th week, has cost $25 billion. Democrats pressed them on what they have to show for it.
It's been an astounding military success.
No, but are we winning the war?
Absolutely.
Okay, so do you call Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz winning?
The president has got himself and America stuck in the quagmire of another war in the Middle East.
Don't say I support the troops on one hand and then a 2-month mission is a quagmire. That's a false equivalation. Who are you cheering for here? Who are you pulling for?
The secretary was also grilled on the administration's justification for the war.
Well, their nuclear facilities have been obliterated. Underground, they're buried, and we're watching them 24/7. So we know where any nuclear material
reclaiming
might be.
my time. We had to start this war, you just said, 60 days ago, because the nuclear weapon was an imminent threat. Now you're saying that it was completely obliterated?
They had not given up their nuclear ambitions.
Hegseth was also asked about the Iranian drone strike that killed 6 U.S. troops in Kuwait. 2 lawmakers cited a CBS News exclusive investigation detailing security failures.
One of our surviving soldiers told CBS, quote, "Painting a picture that one squeaked through is a falsehood." So are you saying that these soldiers, our soldiers who survived this horrific attack, are lying?
What I'm saying is before the commencement of the conflict, we put in maximum defensive posture we could.
That's a direct
contradiction. We moved
70
what they said. In this direction.
Now, if Republicans are concerned about the war, they showed no signs of it at today's hearing. But there was bipartisan pushback on Hegseth's firing of top military officials, which he defended as a need for new leadership. Tony.
Caitlin, thank you very much. Now to our new reporting on the man accused of trying to assassinate President Trump last weekend, the selfie he took and what he was doing in the hours just before his alleged attack. Here's Chief Correspondent Matt Gutman.
Minutes before surveillance cameras captured that sprint towards the ballroom, a different camera captured the White House Correspondents' Dinner attack suspect allegedly gearing up for battle, his own camera. A selfie taken around 8:03 p.m. shows Cole Allen in a black dress shirt and red tie with a shoulder holster for a pistol, knives, ammunition, even pliers, according to a court document filed today.
The suspect stayed somewhere here at the end of the corridor on the 10th floor of this hotel. But there's something I want you to see. Just steps away from these rooms is this stairwell, and that leads directly down the stairs to that terrace level.
That was at about 8:15 p.m. The document says he had already checked a presidential tracker online, and that at 8:27 p.m. the suspect accessed a website broadcasting the event live. These images obtained by the Washington Post show Allen hunched as he allegedly fired one blast from his shotgun as the uniformed Secret Service agent at the bottom of your screen quickly pulls his weapon and begins to fire. The Secret Service says that agent fired 5 times, but he hit neither the suspect nor the officers standing in the line of fire. The suspect then stumbled and fell unharmed near guest and Navy veteran Aaron Thielman's feet.
And it didn't seem like he was trying to get up as soon as he fell.
I looked to see if there was any movement, and I didn't see any movement. I looked to make sure he was disarmed, and then I took off.
Thielman then ran downstairs.
And what did you see about these doors?
The doors were wide open, and I was very concerned because we had the line of succession for our country in the ballroom, and I didn't know what they knew. So I started shutting the ballroom doors.
Now, former Secret Service leaders tell us the issue of the open ballroom doors was an issue, and that's because it offered a direct line of sight to the president. They also say more should have been done to have prevented the suspect from even getting into that secure area. The Secret Service says it is launching a mission review to assess what went wrong. Tony.
Matt Gutman with that new reporting tonight. Matt, thank you very much. Former FBI Director James Comey turned himself in today after he was indicted and charged with threatening the life of President Trump last year. At issue is this social media picture, later deleted, of shells forming 8647 and the words "cool shell formation" on my beach walk. The Trump administration has called it a threat because 86 can be slang for tossing out and 47 could be a reference to Mr. Trump, the nation's 47th president. Comey says he meant no harm. Now to a major ruling by the Supreme Court, which today limited the ability of lawmakers to consider race when drawing up districts for voting. The decision focused on the creation of a majority black district in Louisiana, which supporters said was necessary and legal under the 1965 Voting Rights Act. But the court said that map itself was unconstitutional. Let's bring in our chief legal correspondent, Jan Crawford, for more. Jan, good evening. How significant is this decision?
Well, I mean, it's very significant. It goes well beyond Louisiana. It's going to make it harder for other states, mainly in the Deep South, to justify those districts that, sometimes slash across the state to pick up black voters, like this district in Louisiana that covered 250 miles from Shreveport to Baton Rouge. In this 6-3 decision today, conservative Justice Samuel Alito wrote of the vast social change that has occurred throughout the country, and particularly in the South, since Congress passed the 65 law, and said that the government should not consider race unless to address intentional present-day discrimination. Justice Elena Kagan, writing a sharp dissent for the court's 3 liberals, accused the court of gutting the Voting Rights Act. She predicted minority representation in government institutions will sharply decline.
Jan, several states are in the process of redrawing their congressional maps right now as we speak. Florida state lawmakers voted to do so just today, in fact. Does this decision mean more states can do the same?
Well, I mean, possibly. Right now, there are 59 U.S. representatives who are black, and more than a dozen are from Democratic-leaning districts that could be reconfigured. But, I think it's unlikely most states have time to do that before the midterms. The real impact of this decision, Tony, will be on those redistricting fights for the years to come.
All right, Jan, thank you very much. It has now been 1 full week of severe weather across the central and southern U.S., and the threat continues tonight. Texas, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Missouri all had hard-hit moments in the past 24 hours. Our Jason Allen has made it to some of the worst of it in Mineral Wells, Texas. Look at that picture. Jason, good evening.
Yeah, hey, good evening, Tony. The owners of this business, they closed the doors just minutes before this storm hit. Employees left. They came back today to find this. Utility crews are surging into the area tonight. They are beginning this very big job of trying to get power lines back up so that people here can start cleaning up.
A home security camera captured the moment. A violent tornado, with winds reaching an estimated 145 miles per hour, ripped through Mineral Wells, Texas. Debris rained down as the tornado moved over the edge of the city, leveling homes and shredding entire neighborhoods.
Wow. This is just tore up, isn't it?
Yes. Trees there's still branches, they're dangling and hanging. It's kind of, I can hear them cracking sometimes that they're going to fall.
Eileen Hurley sheltered with her family in a hallway, while the tornado splintered trees and damaged the home she's lived in for 40 years.
And we always hear the siren. I didn't hear nothing at all. It was just fast, just a split second it popped up.
People in this neighborhood told me this storm came in fast. They could see power flashes, they could hear a roar, and then within seconds, it was on top of them, going right across the top of this neighborhood, then down a hill into another one, tearing apart homes and businesses.
The total ended up being 5 injuries and several others that were treated on scene and refused to be transported to the hospital.
From above, destruction spread in every direction at an industrial park. The buildings for several major employers in the small city were flattened in seconds.
There were 2 major manufacturers, large companies, large buildings that were heavily damaged. What we don't have just yet is an exact number on how many employees will potentially be displaced.
The storms have moved into East Texas and Louisiana tonight. There is rain in the forecast here, but thankfully a much lower chance of this severe weather that we have seen over the last several days. Tony?
Jason Allen for us in Texas. Jason, thank you very much. Gas prices just ticked up again, now at their highest level in 4 years. A gallon of regular unleaded up 6 cents since yesterday to a national average of $4.23. That's $1.25 more than you were paying just before the start of the war with Iran. Those prices follow the higher cost of oil, with oil futures today hitting $120 a barrel. Now to a close call today between a United Airlines jet and a drone just before touchdown in San Diego. Senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve is on it for us. Chris, good evening. We know about birds and what bird strikes can do to a plane. What about drones?
Well, Tony, the FAA is investigating what happened over the skies of San Diego.
Flight 1980, flying from San Francisco to San Diego, was on approach to land at Lindbergh Field, flying around 4,000 feet, when pilots reported what appeared to be a small, bright red drone flying nearby.
I believe I just saw like a red small object, like about 1,000 feet below us to our right.
There were initial reports about a potential collision, but it now appears the suspected drone likely passed below the plane. Drones are not supposed to fly above 400 feet, so it should not have been anywhere near an airliner descending to land, but it does happen. Last year, there were more than 1,850 drone sightings around airports reported to the FAA, but actual collisions are extremely rare. A notable one happened last January between a Super Scooper firefighting plane and a drone during the Palisades fire. The damage temporarily grounded that airplane.
United says 48 passengers and 6 crew members were on that plane. It landed safely, and after an inspection, no damage was found, Tony.
And Chris, we're learning about yet another entry into the book of passengers behaving badly. This was on Monday. What do we know?
Yeah, this one's resulting in criminal charges. This was Monday night. A Delta plane was on the tarmac.
Okay, how long has it been delayed already? 3-4 hours, and now you're talking another hour? Get me to the gate. I want off, or I'll take myself off. Okay, here you go. Oh my God! Oh my God!
And you can see there the passenger opens the cabin door. Fortunately, the emergency slide did not deploy, but that got a one-way ticket back to the gate and law enforcement. He's since facing federal charges now of interfering with a flight crew. That plane was inspected by maintenance and ultimately did take off for Chicago, Tony.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Couple of developments from the Federal Reserve today that could matter for your money. The central bank did not change a key number, a rate that affects the cost of mortgages and credit cards, but it signaled that cuts could be coming. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell, who has resisted pressure from President Trump to lower rates, today announced he'll remain as a Fed governor when his term as chairman ends next month, denying President Trump the chance to add his own appointee. Up next, Rob Reiner's son back in court, charged with his parents' murder. The new developments just ahead. We're back with a glimpse of Nick Reiner, pale and bearded, in a Los Angeles courtroom today, several weeks now after pleading not guilty in the grisly death of his famous parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner. CBS News correspondent Carter Evans now with what more we've learned.
More than 4 months after the killings of Rob and Michelle Reiner, their son Nick appeared in court briefly today, shackled at the waist, facing murder charges. But his case won't be heard anytime soon. Prosecutors claim the autopsies still aren't complete, and Reiner's attorney says she hasn't received all the evidence required to mount a defense. Reiner had previously pleaded not guilty to stabbing his parents in the bedroom of their Southern California home hours after they all attended a holiday party hosted by Conan O'Brien. Nick Reiner faces 2 counts of first-degree murder. He's being held without bail. Last week, Reiner's eldest son, Jake, wrote an essay breaking his silence in a heartbreaking way, calling his mom, Michelle, my confidant, and his dad, Rob, my hero. Addressing the killings for the first time, he wrote, "We lost more than half of our family that night in the most violent way imaginable. Sure, any loss of a parent is devastating, but nothing compares to losing both of them at the same time, and on top of that, having your brother be at the center of it. It's almost too impossible to process." Now, I spoke with the district attorney's office, and they are not commenting on the delayed release of those autopsy reports. Nick Reiner's due back in court September 15th. Tony?
Carter, thank you very much. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, a missing dog and a daring high-rise rescue. An explosion Tuesday destroyed a home about 40 miles from Pittsburgh on a quiet street in the town of Steubenville, Ohio. Police say the blast dropped the second story clear into the basement. One person was killed. The cause under investigation. The royals spent today in New York, King Charles and Queen Camilla making a solemn first visit to the site of the 9/11 attacks. Later, the Queen visited the New York Public Library and met with a fellow book lover, Sarah Jessica Parker. Also donated a missing toy to the library's Winnie the Pooh exhibit. Meanwhile, back home, the future King and Queen, William and Kate, celebrated a wedding anniversary, their 15th. And has anyone seen Elby? When a curious Jack Russell disappeared in Sydney, Australia, it took a drone to find her, stuck 13 stories up on a ledge of her owner's apartment building. And the challenge had only just begun. Using ropes and pulleys, first responders rappelled down the building to reach her as a crowd gathered below. And then Elby seems a little surprised by the cheers, but it was her owner, Alex, who was overcome.
But my little baby's alive and she's well and she's at the vet, so thank you.
His little baby. Elby was dehydrated, but otherwise okay. Up next, the good stuff, life when all the pieces finally fall into place. We're back with the good stuff, the world's largest puzzle and what the man who did it learned about life in the process. In retirement, Lou Salas decided to take on a 60,000-piece puzzle, a map of the globe and all its wonders. So large it comes in 5 dozen different boxes. He got to work from his home in Colorado, just working on it when he felt like it. And just last weekend, after more than 4 years, he got to the end. But how do you even assemble a 29-foot puzzle? Lou and some friends built a giant table in the garage with a platform to hover him over the middle pieces. After all the work to get to that final piece, how did it feel putting it in place?
It felt kind of sad because it had been a part of me for a good time.
Lou and the team celebrated with a few beers, but part of him wished it wasn't over.
It takes a while, but when you get to the end, you reflect back and it's behind you, and it's not a long process at all.
Sounds like it deepened your appreciation for life itself.
Oh, it is. I mean, the whole thing is kind of a reflection of life.
Day by day, piece by piece, you build a life the same way you build a puzzle. And even when it's the world's largest puzzle, Lou reminds us, you're not going to be building it forever. So enjoy it. That's another day in America. I'm Tony DeCopel. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Good night.